Hello everyone, I'm back again with yet another audio message, and this message is I'm gonna just say that I'm gonna just give my thoughts on a couple of court shows, so-called court shows on television, and one of them's named Divorce Court, and the other one's Paternity Court. Now, before I get into this, if you don't believe in God or morals or heaven or hell or that a devil exists and that we're living in last days slash end times and you think everything's a joke and a game, please don't listen to this. Just click away from this. Watch one of them other shallow, superficial YouTubers with over 100,000 subs, and because they're all demons anyways. Watch one of them and take your mind off of eternal matters. But moving forward, the Lord laid it on my spirit to do this message, and He has for quite some time. So I decided I would give my thoughts on those two shows. The first show, Divorce Court. Well, the first time around it was Judge Maybelline, Ephraim Maybelline, and then they took her off in, I would say, early 2006, and they put Dana Toller there, which I didn't really like, but just when I was getting used to her, they switched her out too. Not that I spent all my time watching these shows, because the guests, they do a lot of things that are annoying and stuff, and the current I don't know if they call it syndication, the current show as we know it right now. They took Toller off last year, and they put Faith Jenkins up there. I believe the reason they did that because Faith Jenkins is younger and she's prettier and she's a little more mild mannered than what the previous two were. But she's also kind of light skinned. They took, as y'all noticed, in the beginning, they had Ephraim up there and she was dark skinned. And I noticed that same pattern. And well, this is not my subject for today, but it's for that. Excuse me. It's for that show. The same thing happened on those '90s sitcoms. Fresh Prince of Bel Air and Family Matters. And the wives at first, they were dark skinned, then they switched them out with lighter skinned ones. And this is how Satan gets down. Because, he hates the black race, officially those that are very dark skinned, because that's what Jesus Christ looks like. But I'm gonna move on from there. That's not my subject for this message, but as for the shows, for starters, the thing I despise about them is political correctness. And I watch, videos, I would watch these messages, and for some reason all his videos are made private, and then, then they back up on the channel now. Pino, I don't know if y'all heard of this individual, but Pino and Gonde, this is fellow on YouTube this is fellow on YouTube that posts his testimonies of, dreams and visions that people have of the spirit realm and of heaven and hell and of the hereafter, and or the tribulation period, what the rapture is going to be like, the things that Satan is up to behind the scenes in the kingdom of darkness, and so forth, just to sum things up. And one of the videos I watched some time ago, I think it was sometime last year or something. The reason why the judges don't really clamp down on the clients for doing such stupid mess. I mean, the guests, I'm calling them guests, for doing such stupid stuff is, number one, they sign contracts. When they sign these contracts to be on television, these so-called judges, I heard Lauren Lake in Paternity Court, by the way, is hosted by Lauren Lake. But anyways, well, she's kind of dark skinned, so but in moving forward, one of the reasons why they don't really get down on the clients, because when you sign these contracts to be on television, make these blood oaths to be on television, you can't say anything about, you can't cry out against sin, at least not like you want to anyway. Of course, they do a little bit of that so it wouldn't look too bad, But the truth of the matter is, and to get into detail, I heard on this video they said you're not allowed to speak out against homosexuality or lesbianism or prostitution or modest dress on women, fornication, adultery, abortion. As a matter of fact, you're supposed to glorify those sins. And that's why they don't get down on too much for doing that. They never tell them to wait for marriage. Either they commit the sin of omission by not saying too much, or they say, well, you dodged the bullet, you don't need to do this again, and they just move forward with it. They just say you need to use protection or whatever. And don't y'all know when it comes to condoms and stuff like that, they not only the Illuminati is now when I see the Illuminati, I'm talking about the kingdom of darkness, kingdom of Satan. But anyway, the powers of principalities of darkness, because they're the ones that's behind the scenes. I mean, no human beings are running, the affairs of the world. It's all reptilians. It's all demons. And of course, Satan is at the top of the pyramid. There's no human beings. They're just in human form. They're just, in clone bodies and stuff. And I also can't help but notice that a lot of females that show up on the show, and the so-called females that giving birth, so-called, a lot of them had appearance of transgenders and stuff. I remember Yahweh Rules made a video back when his channel was up. Unfortunately, I didn't download it in time, but he made a video. I don't know if we'd be allowed to post stuff like that now, but anyways, he showed some videos where these transgenders, these so-called these women, they weren't women at all, but at least they had the appearance of trans women. Men pretending to be women. I mean, I don't know about their biology, and I'm not even gonna go into that because they're not human. They don't have a soul. They're just demons behind clone bodies, basically, to keep it simple. They're demon incarnates. And please watch those videos by a young lady from Namibia named Rachel Mushala. Chizolo, or whatever her name is. She's from Namibia, which is basically in Southwest Africa. And listen to her testimonies on demon incarnates and stuff, and how they're very commonplace. They make up most of the human population, is so-called human population. But anyways, I notice a lot of people that get the individuals. I use that term people very lightly because they're not human at all. I believe vast majority of the guests on those shows are soulless. I mean, they have no morals at all. They wouldn't think of twice about lying, stealing, cheating, sleeping around and stuff. And the reason for that is that demons and doing stupid stuff. Because like Yahweh Rule said a while back, he said that demons are stupid. Why do you think you see them doing all this nasty? And a lot of times they don't actually, it's like they have no common sense whatsoever. They just do the dumbest things, and they know they're not supposed to do that. And it's a lot of these creatures as well. They'll go out here and commit sin and break God's laws and stuff, and then they get on TV and cry and whine about it when they suffer the consequences, and they want you to feel sorry for them. But y'all, if y'all do have any pity for them, y'all just pitying demons and stuff. And also, I can't help but notice that both of those shows, Divorce Court and Paternity Court, they have their own channel on YouTube, whereas Judge Judy does not. Like even as a matter of fact, a lot of the materials that have been posted up there from the Judge Judy show have been taken down, but under the guise of so-called copyright and stuff. But I don't think Judge Judy is directly behind that. Maybe she is, I don't know. But for the Divorce Court and Paternity Court, reason why they feature those shows, they got their own channel and they post whole episodes and stuff, is because it's mostly demons on that show. And that young lady that I mentioned earlier from Africa, and that I told you, the purpose she will always put emphasis on when she talked about these demons that are among us in human form. And I've been asked frequently, do these individuals know they're clones? They know they're demons. Oh, absolutely. They absolutely know that if it's a demon inside of that individual that so-called looks human. And she also said that you can't tell by looking at them, but sometimes you can, because a lot of them are plastic looking. A lot of them, they shape shift. Their eyes have slits in it and all that kind of mess. And they even had appearance of transgenders, because I remember Yahweh Rules said, and that other fellow, who I don't follow anymore, I have to tell why somewhere down the road. But anyway, he pretty much took the place of Baruch Shai while he was away. I mean, their voices sound alike and everything, and he used to speak truth, but not like he used to. But anyways, the reason why they feature those shows, and they got their own, and Judge Mathis as well in the People's Court. Well, People's Court is a different matter, and Judge Mathis in a way is. But the thing is, the reason why they have those shows up there, Paternity Court and Divorce Court, because those shows promote sexual sin, and according to the Bible, and make no mistake about it, those in Hollywood and the entertainment industry, since they're demons and they were once in heaven for billions of years before God threw them out for following after Satan, and they all getting together, rebel against God and create, mutiny against him and wage war against them, which they lost, by the way, because they were thrown out. They were exiled out of heaven, expulsed, or expelled out of heaven. and kicked out because they had sinned and rebelled against God. The word of God is in heaven, and for that reason they've been up there for as long as they have. They know it like the back of their hand. They not only do this to blaspheme and curse God, but and make fun of the Bible and stuff in a roundabout way. But they do that to promote sexual sin. And back to what I was saying, the reason they that show, they feature those shows so prominently. They got it their own YouTube channel. They got all these pages. Facebook, Twitter, Twatter or whatever. Like one preacher said, Phil Key to be exact. And they got Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. These other social media outlets because they promote sexual sin. And keep in mind, vast majority of, if not all of the guests on the show are demons or demon incarnates. And reason why they indiscriminately have sex like that and just not think anything of it is because one of the reasons is that's how they were raised. They probably raised in an environment like that. And number two, they're demon incarnates and demons, like that young lady said before she left YouTube about a few years ago. She said she was another one that spoke, unabashed truth. But anyway, she talked about both clones and transgenders. Unlike most truthers on YouTube that, talk about the Illuminati or talk about this, like a lot of them talk about transgenders, but they don't talk about the clones. And on the other hand, a lot of them talk about the clones, but not transgenders. But I cover both subjects. But anyway, because they're very tied in, they're very interconnected with each other. But anyway, you can't separate them. They're interchangeable. They're interdependent, to use a big word. But anyways, they do that because according to the Bible, sexual sin is the worst way you defile yourself. Why do you think, as I mentioned in a video last year, after people are raped or molested, sexually assaulted, they're never the same. I mean, they're messed up for life, basically, because that's how and when celebrities are programmed, they under MK Ultra, rape is a big part of that. And sexual assault and prostitution, or core temple prostitution, to be exact, is a big part of that. And, that's a form of torture. But anyhow, the reason why they feature that show, because, it promotes sexual sin. And I can't think of any way faster to get to hell faster than through sexual sin, especially if it's perverted. And secondly, most of the guests are demons and stuff. And like that young lady from Africa said, demons are always, every time you turn around, they're always, plotting and doing things to send real humans, to see real humans, get them sent to hell and stuff. They're always influencing them to sin. So by them keep putting that stuff up like that, they can, and by the way, on divorce court now, I can't help but ever since they switched the host out, the current one, to the current one, which is Faith Jenkins. And I mean, this probably has something to do with it. I also noticed that Faith Jenkins, and I'm not condemning those of you that are left-handed or whatever, because I know y'all can't help that. I used to have a friend, but he moved away about 5 years ago. He was a lefty. But anyhow, I also noticed that Faith Jenkins is left-handed, and which means, and in the kingdom of Satan, I mean, left-handedness, like the Bible says, the sheep and the goats. It's the sheep on the right hand and the goats on the left hand. Left-handedness represents evil. And actually, and that's why they did to Jimi Hendrix and Paul McCartney and what's his name, and a few others, like Charlie Chaplin and Ringo Starr. They were lefties, but they made them use their right hand. And Robert Plant, possibly from Led Zeppelin, they were born lefties, but they made them use their right hand and stuff. But anyhow, that's not my subject either. But they left represents evil, and right represents righteousness. It represents uprightness and stuff. But anyhow, the reason those shows, they're demons. The guests are demons, and they're trying to get you to think that homosexuality, lesbianism, fornication, adultery, and living together, shacking up, living in sin, whatever you want to call it, cohabitation, whatever. They want you to think that this stuff is normal and that it's healthy and that it's natural. And plus, there's never anything mentioned about God or the Bible, and there's very little mention about morals and stuff. And that will tell you something, that the spirit of Antichrist, controls those shows and stuff, and those that own those shows, and those that, the guests that appear up there, and as well as the hosts and stuff, and all the, the individuals that are responsible for putting that stuff on air and producing it or whatever. The spirit of Antichrist controls them. And they're all demons. They hate God. They hate the Bible. They hate morals and all this kind of stuff. And it's not going to get any better, y'all, because I noticed that for the new season of when they put Faith Jenkins up there, they put most of the couples up there are not even married. Okay, why are you calling it divorce court? You might as well call it breakup court now or something, because most of the couples are not even married now. I mean, they're just shacking up. And how you expect a relationship like that to last? As I was telling a friend of mine the other day, a friend of mine, he's male, but he's just, I only see him once a month anyway. He's not, we're not in a relationship or anything. It's just purely platonic. He's actually my doctor, but anyhow, I told him the other day that no one, man or woman, will respect somebody they shacking up with. And you always heard that saying that came out of the hood. I mean, why buy the cow when you get the milk for free? Like, if they don't have any strings attached or any kind of, they're just living together, playing house, playing pretend, being something they not. And according to the Bible, living together without the benefit of marriage is adultery, it's sin. Okay, it's adultery. You living in adultery, you're just as guilty as somebody that is married, but they cheating on their spouse. They running around on their spouse. But the truth of the matter is, I know I can't help but notice a pattern with these kind of relationships. And they also on divorce shows like Maury and Divorce Court. That's why they're so popular, because they promote sexual sin, as I said before. The thing I can't help but notice a pattern about those relationships. Those relationships often involve, they're not. I'm just say they're not monogamous. They're polyamorous or whatever you want to call it. That means the partners run around on each other and stuff. And also, they also, when they live together like that, they don't abstain from sex. They're committing fornication. They're having sex, and oftentimes they bring children into those unions and stuff. And all they're doing against their own paternity court and divorce court, they're just bringing soulless babies into the world. That's why I believe that's one of the main reasons why they do what they do. And plus, they're trying, indulge every desire of the flesh and the body and stuff. But according to the Bible, marriage, it says in another area, it said marriage is honorable to all. I'm talking about they mistranslated. They should have said marriage is done according to God's laws and God's ways and done according to God's will is honorable to all that engage in it. But fornicators and adulterers, God gonna judge. And I noticed that since, and that spirit of Antichrist is going to become more and more prevalent as we approach the end of this age. And I can't help but notice that, that stuff is on the rise as well. And those shows also promote divorce, which, is a sin according to the Bible. When you go off and leave somebody and marry while your spouse is still alive, especially if you divorce them, the only way you divorce somebody is, on grounds of sexual immorality. Like if you find out that person was a sex offender, or they abuse you, or they abuse you whether physically or sexually or whatever, or if you find out, I'm gonna just say they're a sex offender, or if they cheated or whatever, that's the only grounds for divorce. But if people do that for stupid reasons, as soon as life gets hard, they just quit. They just quit and go elsewhere because they've been brainwashed all their life to believe that, love is just a feeling. But it's not. I mean, they both brainwashed to seek out, relationships and marriages and stuff that are perfect, but there's no such thing as perfect in this sin cursed world. That's not going to come to the next life, but most are not going to make it to the next life though. And those people that own TV and all that stuff, and by the way, demons are going to be judged too. It's not just real humans that died in their sins. Demons, and every demon that rebelled against God in the beginning, and Satan himself, all of them going to be judged at the great white throne judgment as well. So one of these days they're going to answer to God for putting that filth on TV and stuff. And a lot of them are arrogant. They're not dumb as a box of rocks. They're very arrogant, and they wouldn't think twice about, screwing you over, even killing you. And they'll probably think, and for the ones that are religious, they probably think that, they're doing God a favor and stuff. But I have more to say, but I'm just close this video out if there's no further ado, because, I have more to say, but my time is running short. So, but just keep in mind, I mean, y'all might want to just stop watching those shows, because it's not going to get any better. I mean, the spirit of Antichrist is, and one of those things that, one of the biggest components of the spirit of Antichrist is sexual perversion and stuff, and immorality and depravity and stuff. So if there's nothing further, I'm going to just close this out. I love you all. I hope you learned something new, and that's all. I'm out. Peace. Shalom.